Chapter 14, Thinking Inside the Box. This chapter covers the parts of an element box, such as dimensions, padding, borders, outlines, margins, display roles, and drop shadows. This is a good visualization of what the element box looks like. So if we have an element, a paragraph element, here is the content of the paragraph. That paragraph has a padding area around it, and then we can modify all of these things, which we'll see in a few minutes. It also has a border, and then it also has a margin area and this outer edge. We can specify the box dimensions with the width and height properties. You can specify the length in pixels. It can be a percentage, or the default is auto, which the browser will choose the best height and width for the element box. There are two methods for sizing an element box specified with the box sizing attribute. So the attribute here is box sizing, like this, and the value can either be content box or border box. So content box, the top one right here, is referring to this top section here. So 500 pixels is the width of the content, and then the padding and the border are on the outside. So it says 50 pixels of padding and 10 pixels of a border. The bottom here, box sizing, is set to border box. Border box includes the border and the padding when specifying the width. So the width of everything here is 500 pixels. Padding, you can specify as a length or percentage as pixels or 45%. It's the amount of space between the content area and the border. You can specify it just with padding, and then that will apply to all sides, or you can specify each side individually. Here's a quick example. We have a block quote, and they're specifying the padding on the top, the right, the bottom, and the left. EM is a measurement, a unit of measurement that's related to the font size. You can skip all of those properties right here if you want to use this, just the padding property, and then have the 4 values, and it will go clockwise starting at the top. And we can do this with some of the other properties we're going to look at. A border is a line drawn around the content area and its padding. The thickness of the border is included in the dimensions of the element box. You define style, width, and color for borders. Borders can be applied to single sides or all around. Border style, so this indicates, do I want a solid border, dash border, groove, and so forth. And then, like with padding, we can specify just the top, the right, the bottom, the left. Border style shorthand, you can specify, just give the values for the 4 different sides, starting with the top, working clockwise. Border width, that would just be the width of the sides, so you can either specify a border width value that would go for all 4 sides, or you can specify each one individually. You can specify it with a length, like in pixels, or you can use the words thin, medium, and thick. You can specify the color, border color, and give it a color value. You can have a border radius, which is rounded corners. The value is a length or percentage value reflecting the radius of the curve. Providing one value makes all corners the same. 4 values are applied clockwise, starting from the top left corner. Here are some examples of the border radius property. And finally, margins. It's the amount of space added on the outside of the border. They keep elements from bumping into one another or the edge of the viewport. So it works just like the other ones. I could just say margin for EM, and that applies it to all sides, but I can specify each side individually. Top and bottom margins of neighboring elements collapse, which means they overlap instead of accumulating. So in this example, the top element has a bottom margin of 4 EM, and the bottom element has a top margin of 2 EM. And the resulting margin is 4 EM, the largest value. It's not 4 plus 2 for 6, it's just 4. So they do overlap the margins.